Boom.
There we go.
I did it. We did it.
It's recording.
We did it. Cool.
Right on. Round 3. You would think by episode 64 we might have our shit together, but round 1 I didn't have my mic in front of me.
Round 2, my mic stopped working.
But now on to round 3.
Charm.
Cheers to that. And talking about cheers, we have Who Fucking Knows glasses. Lexy doesn't because she's in Hawaii, but
yeah,
waiting
I've been drinking from this all night. I just
We took round 3 as the opportunity to get her glass. But it has our logo and a bunch of letters that form words that we say a lot, like words are hard, which is my favorite, or extra toasty.
And aliens. Boom.
Exactly. We got them just for ourselves this round, but maybe next time you'll have a chance of getting one too.
All right.
Fucking knows.
Let's do this. Welcome to Who Fucking Knows, a podcast where 3 friends, a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead, discuss conspiracy theories, murder mysteries, and unknown phenomena that make you ask yourself, who fucking knows what happened? My name is Angela.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Lexy.
Welcome to Who Fucking Knows.
Hello.
Woo. It's time
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited to drink and to talk to you guys. And yep, that's about it.
Sounds perfect.
Nice.
How's Kauai?
Oh, it's Kauai. I will admit it, the island fever is setting in. I'm kind of ready to go back to California. But it's all good. We're good. I also have had some wisdom teeth issues, which is funny because I think a couple episodes ago I was talking about my wisdom teeth and I got these weird neck lumps that are fucking bothering me that I'm pretty sure are related to something wrong with my wisdom teeth. So I've been taking dog antibiotics, but it's fine. I'm getting better.
Dog?
Why are you taking dog antibiotics?
Because that's all that we had at my house. And my mom and the internet. My mom's a nurse, and she said I could take them. They're all the same. They weren't expired. But they're for Nala.
Dogs take human antibiotics then?
No, the strength is different. The strength has to be different.
I've been cutting them in half because Nala weighs a bit more than I do. She's a big dog.
It's very true. She's like a bear.
Yeah.
Very loving.
But,
bear.
I think whatever is going on, whatever infection is happening is getting better. But when I get back to California, I'm going to probably get them out. So that'll be fun. I'll
send
you videos
stem cells.
of a loopy Lexy.
Harvest
I know.
Harvest your stem
Yes,
cells.
I want to. My stem cells. They can't try to take them from me. But, yeah. That's how my life's going.
Beautiful. Last week of school, it's my finals week, so I am kind of on the edge of extinction right now. I'm also watching a lot of Survivor, hence that little quiz right there. That's how I stay sane, but, it's all good. It's all right. We're doing great. Just one more week. And I've also been drinking all day because football's Sunday.
Nice. But on that note, current event?
Yes, you read my mind, Ms. Angela. Let's get into it. Okay, so I've got the current event this time, and I found this from The Guardian, and it pertains to the Zodiac Killer. So the Zodiac Killer is a murderer who's unidentified, who killed people in the 1960s and 70s. We've been able to link 5 murders to him. However, he claims to have done 37 or more. And he's really famous because he sent a lot of taunting letters and phone calls in which he explained the mystical and intellectual basis of his decision to kill. His letters demonstrated great interest in astrological symbolism, so that's why he's kind of like the Zodiac Killer, and also the way that he killed his victims, which we'll leave for another time. But what's fun is the current event that I have is, so like I mentioned, he sent a bunch of letters and stuff to newspapers, and some of them were in a cipher. And the first cipher that he sent out was solved immediately by a local couple who saw the San Francisco newspaper. And that cipher was decoded to say, "I like killing because it is so much fun." Ew.
That guy.
And then on November 9th, 1969, the Zodiac mailed another card with a 340 character cipher. So it's like beyond the amount of times of our actual alphabet, the amount of characters are in it. And here's a little picture of it too. There we go. And it's a lot of really creepy, weird symbols that no one can really understand until December 5th, 2020, 51 years later after receiving the cipher. It has been cracked. And I'm telling you, it's been 51 years of a lot of people looking at this. They released it trying to say, like, anyone in the world try and solve this. So it's a really big miracle that it was cracked. Mm-hmm. And the little letter is fucking horrible. Let's get into it. It said, quote, "I hope you are having lots of fun and trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me." Is it like the amount of people that you kill your slaves? I don't know. It's just, maybe. It's creepy. And then I also read somewhere else, I can't remember where, and I didn't write it here, and I don't know how credible it is or not, but they didn't release all of what it said, but it doesn't say anything about the killer. It doesn't give us any more info. It's just kind of like that, yes, we have something new, but it doesn't really do anything else because they've already analyzed the handwriting and the lettering and stuff like that, and it's just gruesome what he says and how, like, he's just interested in killing people because he doesn't give a fuck about humans.
I wonder if he's still alive, and I wonder if he hears this news and he's like reawoken.
I know,
you know?
That would be fucking creepy.
If he sent a letter to the newspaper, I would fucking, I don't want him to, but I want him to because I want to find out who he is, and I think it would be so fucking awesome to live through that.
Like, this is a
don't
movie,
kill any
guys.
more people.
Hollywood, are you taking notes?
Exactly. Make my dreams come true. Just send a letter. Don't go killing people, okay? But yeah, that's the current event. That's the new thing on the Zodiac Killer. You never know. Maybe, like, the next step will be that letter sent back, like Angela said. So, who fucking knows?
Cool. Good story.
Yeah. Thank you. Ange, do you have a story for us this week?
Of course I do. I almost kicked over my table with my drink on it, but did not happen. So I'm going to go into my story instead of cleaning up beer. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. So Linda Napolitano. She lived with her husband and 2 sons in the Lower East Side of Manhattan in the 1980s. And for the most part, she lived a totally normal life. I think she was like a housewife or something, and she just took care of her children, and she had no issues with her life at all until something happened on November 30th, 1989. So on this day, Linda experienced one of the most infamous alien abduction experiences to have ever occurred. So at 3:15 a.m. on a chilling November morning, Linda and her husband were laying in bed asleep. Linda suddenly woke up because she felt a presence, and when she opened her eyes and looked up, a little figure was bent over her bed. And this little figure was a small gray being with a bald head and wide, dark black eyes, and it was about 4 feet tall. Her first instinct, which is kind of I thought it was kind of funny. Her first instinct was to throw her pillow at it because she freaked the fuck out.
That's better than going under the covers. Same. That's an actual line of attack. So,
so she throws her pillow at this thing, and then she has a second thought of, oh man, I should wake up my husband to help me out with this thing. Like, this is what I have him around here for, you know, to protect me against invaders. But when she had that thought, at that moment, a message was sent to her kind of telepathically that told her to be quiet. And she kind of hesitated in that moment because the message kind of freaked her out, hearing that voice in her head. And then at that moment, her vision became impaired by what seemed like a white cloth covering her face. And when the white cloth covered her face, she fell back onto her bed, and she was struggling to fight whatever was happening. But then she suddenly felt a numbness taking over her body, starting from her toes and working its way up. Eventually, she became completely paralyzed. And at that moment, she was able to see again, and she saw a bright blue beam that started to shine through her bedroom window, which, by the way, was closed and sealed shut with metal bars. So that's kind of an important thing to note, I guess. So the next thing she knew, Linda felt her body being lifted off the bed, and she was traveling up this beam of light. And the same force that was lifting her then folded her body into a fetal position while she was still paralyzed. And she was paralyzed in this fetal position, and her body floated right through the window and the metal bars into the crisp night air. So
what the fuck?
Yeah, so imagine just like having no control and just being like bent over and like turned into like a fetal position. So she's floating,
going through surfaces that you're not supposed to go through.
Yeah.
Like, let's focus on that one a little bit more.
Being bent over. It's like,
yeah, she just went right through that shit. And so after a while, she's floating around like this, like going up the beam, and soon she realized she was over the city. So she was in Manhattan. So she was over the city in an upright position. So she was now kind of standing, and she was floating towards the Brooklyn Bridge. And the being who woke her, the small little gray creature with a big head and big eyes that were just straight up black, were by her side along with two others. Though paralyzed, she was completely conscious. So like imagine just if you were going through this, flying up hella high above New York City in like the cold air, because November in the 80s too, it used to get, well, it still gets cold in New York, but before global warming, you know, used to snow and shit in November. So it must have been a freezing cold night, and to be that high up in the air. So she was completely conscious, which is crazy. And at that moment, she kind of had tears just streaming down her face because she was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so as she was floating, she began to approach a huge spaceship that was hanging in the sky. The spaceship was clam-shaped and covered with spinning lights. And Linda saw the doors open, and the beam of light dragged her body through them. And then the doors closed behind her. And so that's like kind of creepy. Sounds like what the fuck. But what's crazy is at least 24 people reported seeing the spaceship in the sky, some of which saw a woman being pulled in with a beam of light.
Oh,
so there was like
that
witnesses
just blew
to
it
this.
Way out of proportion now, because it's not only her experiencing it, but like people are seeing it fucking happen.
Yeah.
Did her husband wake up at all during any of this?
He did not. So this now continuing to what she experienced when she was in the ship.
Sorry.
So as quickly as the spaceship appeared, it shot across the sky and disappeared, according to witnesses. And inside of the ship, Linda found herself alone in a room with creatures. So at first, when she entered the ship, she said that she saw like she went through like a hallway type thing where she actually saw benches that looked really normal. Like she says she remembered the benches because of their normalcy. Like they just seemed like, okay, this is a weird ass thing happening, but there's benches there that look familiar, I guess. And so she went through that hallway, and then they took her, like the creatures took her to her room where she was all alone with them. And the first thing she noticed in the room was a long, ominous table that gave her a bad feeling. Like she was like, shit's about to go down on that table, and I don't know if I want to be around for it, you know? So,
typical alien table there.
Yeah. So she's like, fuck,
you're gonna get probed.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, she is lifted into the air again, and she's thinking to herself, I have to fight back. But unfortunately for her, she was still paralyzed, but she did have her voice still. And so she began screaming as loudly and furiously as she could. Meanwhile, the creatures were talking to each other through strange noises. So whatever language they're speaking, it's not clear that it's a language. It sounds just weird and unfamiliar completely, but they seem to be communicating. And then one of them covers her mouth to quiet the screams. So they're like, should we shut? They're like, I imagine their conversation was like, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? Like, should I just touch her? Like, can I do that? Is that okay?
Cover that hole.
Yeah. So, when after he covers her mouth, or she, or
What's
whatever
so
this thing
that,
is,
Lexy?
yeah.
Sorry.
They put Linda on the table, and then they stick a foreign object inside of her nose, and yeah, and
COVID
the next
test.
Not a fun time.
Kidding.
yeah, COVID test. Yeah. And the next thing Linda remembers is she's laying in her bed at 5 a.m. She wakes up thinking that she had a horrible nightmare, and her husband's still asleep in the bed next to her. So at this moment, all she could really remember was being on board of the ship, paralyzed with little creatures surrounding her, and her memory was foggy, so she thought it was all a dream. But she kind of started, like, that memory kind of bothered her, because it was kind of like, it did feel real, but it was like foggy, and she felt something uncomfortable in her nose. And so she decided to go to the doctor to get an x-ray of her face due to the uncomfortable feeling, as if something was up there. And in the Google Drive, I have the x-ray picture, and it revealed a small spiral metal shape implanted into her nose with no explanation. However, something that should be noted is that the doctor was a family member of Linda, so that could be kind of sketchy. Like, are they all planning this? But I have the picture of the x-ray, and
Shit.
yeah, so it's like, did they just stick something up her nose and do an x-ray of it, and we're like, boom, aliens? Or did she have this uncomfortable feeling, not want to go to a doctor that is like a practitioner, and instead went to like a family member that was a doctor and was like, hey, I'm feeling some weird shit up here? Because I think if I had a family member that was a doctor and I didn't want to sound completely crazy to a real doctor and be like, I need to get my face x-rayed, man.
Yeah.
Don't make me explain this shit, you know?
I would do that too.
That, and also, like, maybe it's free going to a family member.
And it's just
Yeah.
more comfortable to
Yeah.
you overall.
True that.
Yeah.
So, according
But
to
there's like this small little squiggly there. It's so small. I had to zoom in, or also I'm just kind of blind, but like, fuck. I got a camera shoved up my nose. I wonder if they saw anything like that and just didn't tell me.
they were just like, all right, Taylor was sticking weird shit up her nose, obviously. I'm just going to leave that there.
Taylor.
Well, they did take a large mass out of the inside of my lymph node nose thing, so who fucking knows what that was? I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, who knows?
I didn't want to.
They're in on it.
Sorry. There we go.
All right. So, according to Linda, at some point, the little spirally implant disappeared after a second abduction experience. So, I guess that happened. Like, they got the x-ray, and then, like, I don't know how much time later, but at some point, she thought she had another visitation and was like, I need to get this x-ray done again, and it was gone. So, Linda, confused about what's happening, concerned about what's happening, decides to talk to Elliot Bud Hopkins, and he is a UFOologist who actually began interviewing alien abductees after seeing a dark elliptical object hovering in the air in 1964. So at this time that she talked to him, he had already been working on things like this for about 20 years, and even after this incident, he spent decades trying to legitimize aliens and abductee experiences, and in the process he sacrificed his career and reputation. But it became public knowledge that Bud was working on the case, and then in 1991, so this happened in 1989, Bud received a letter from a security guard, and in the letter he stated that he and his partner were on duty parked in a limo under FDR Bridge when they saw a beam of light in the sky. The beam turned from a bright orange to a milky blue, and within the beam was a woman with 3 other creatures. The guards, Dan and Rick, tried to leave the limo but were stuck. One of the officers so strongly believed in what he had seen and felt so guilty for not helping Napolitano that he actually suffered extreme paranoia and stalked her and then had a nervous breakdown. So what makes these men even stronger witnesses is that upon exploring the lives of Richard and Dan, Hopkins discovered that they were actually close-quarter bodyguards for an important political figure who was said to have witnessed the abduction as well, though no political figure had ever publicly stepped forward. So it's like they're wondering, is this real? Is this sketchy? Are they just making up this story? Because, hey, if you want them, like, if he's a political figure, he should speak the fuck up. But then who would do that and ruin his career? But that was one of the witnesses. Another witness was an employee at the New York Post. Apparently, their office building was right across from Napolitano's apartment, and a woman driving across the Brooklyn Bridge during the incident, another witness, said she saw it and thought she was witnessing a sci-fi movie being filmed.
Oh,
like,
that's a good assumption.
Yeah, it's like, dude, how are they doing that? That's pretty cool.
It must be a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. So that is pretty much all I really have written down for her. Her story is like extremely long and there's more to it, but I didn't want to go super long-winded. Plus, my research time was... I didn't have time.
You got all that we needed to know. Time. It was fucking crazy.
Is Linda Napolitano. I'll spell her last name. Napolitano. Napolitano.
That is a freaking wild story.
But yeah. So
sorry, Linda.
I think it's like a trip that like there's people that witness it, and then also like the X-ray.
Mm-hmm. What like causes an alien to choose you? You know, like,
girl, if I knew. No, just kidding.
Angela's like, please.
Well, like you said, she was in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like they've gone throughout the United States, throughout the world, but like the United States have a lot of different ones that I'm actually aware of, and like South America and stuff that you've shared, and it's always like more remote. And this one was like ballsy as fuck, like in the middle of New York. This one person, like, what was like her thing that like attracted them to him? Or like, was it like a random draw? Are we all numbered and they were like, oh, it's number 2374532 today, and they are here? Like, what is the method?
The
I don't know.
That is an interesting thing to think about, though. How do they choose you?
Yeah, how do they choose?
Because it makes more sense if you're in the middle of a pasture or if you're at a farm and like more remote areas and you're chosen. Like, I it doesn't make me question that much because it's like opportunity, but that wasn't more like, that didn't feel like an opportunity.
Yeah.
But that was a great story, Angela.
Maybe they did it for the thrill. The thrill of getting caught.
Maybe someone will see us. Lexi, what do you have for us this week?
So this week I have a mystery disappearance story with some interesting theories behind it. So I'm going to talk about the disappearance of Stacy Arras or Arras. It's a double R. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct or not, but I'm going to call her Stacy from here on out.
Alrighty.
So Stacy was... Are you singing Stacy's mom?
Maybe. You didn't have to call me out.
Okay. So Stacy was only 14 years old when she vanished without a trace inside Yosemite National Park in 1981. And to this day, her disappearance still remains unsolved. I think this is why it sounded familiar, because Taylor, I think, covered some like national park disappearances at one time. And Yosemite and national parks are pretty notorious for unsolved missing persons cases for a number of different reasons. I'm sure you can guess my top reason. Bigfoot, ghosts, I don't know.
Aliens.
Aliens, exactly.
Maybe that's how I'll meet them. I'll just keep going to Yosemite all alone.
You'll get picked up eventually.
Start hugging a tree and sending vibes out into the world. Universe, bring me aliens.
Manifest it. Just kidding. But okay. So Due to the mysterious circumstances surrounding the event of her disappearance, some people, again, believe there are supernatural forces at play. So who fucking knows, but let's get into it. So she wasn't traveling alone at the time. She was with others when she disappeared. Her father was one of them, and I believe there were 6 other people in a group, and they were out in Yosemite horseback riding. And they reached the Sunrise High Sierra camp, and at that point, Stacy wandered off to go take photographs of the nearby lake. Sounds like Angela wandering off to take photographs. Oh, God. The camp, again, is a pretty big tourist destination. There were a ton of people around, and multiple people saw Stacy walk towards the lake to go take photos. While the group was resting, Stacy told her father, again, she's like, hey, I'm going to go hike down and take pictures by the lake. Do you want to come? And her father said no, and which I'm sure he fucking regrets, because that was the last time that they saw her, was when she left to go back to the lake. And a tour guide was the last person who saw her alive and saw Stacy standing on a rock near the lake, about 50 yards south of the trail. And the trail itself was only 1.5 miles, so it really wasn't a long trail. But again, that was the last time Stacy was ever reported being seen. When she did initially wander off, a 77-year-old man from her camp group accompanied her at first. The man sat down to rest while Stacy walked ahead. But when Stacy didn't return, the man got up to look for her and gathered the remainder of the group to search more extensively. I'm not quite sure how much time had passed between then and when he realized she didn't come back. But at that point, they reported her missing, and they were kind of like, this is kind of strange. But witnesses said that they did see the man sitting down as Stacy was wandering off, and there's no further evidence to imply that he was involved in any way. She did.
So I was about to be like, suspicious 77-year-old man. Like,
he's so old, but I don't know. What are they capable of?
Hey, there are old people that are capable of a lot more than I'm capable of right now. So
true. But so I think, again, it was probably, I'm gonna guess, 20 minutes, and from when she went and wandered off and the guy got a little sketched out, and then the search began for her, and no one found any trace of her except for the lens from her camera was found inside the grove of trees. And when I first was doing research, I wasn't sure if it was the lens or the lens cap, because there's a lens attached to a camera, and that's like an essential part of the camera. Like, why would she just leave that in the forest? So I'm assuming it's probably the lens cap. That
unless she had another lens that she'd like put down and put on a new lens, and then forgot or left.
Which would also be strange.
She's like, I'm just gonna hide this right here.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's not like it's hundreds of dollars or anything like that. Hundreds of dollars.
But so that was the only thing that they found in the area, was her lens cap to her camera. So the group began to search for Stacy not long after she disappeared, and rescue crews invested extensive efforts to find her, which is even stranger that, because there wasn't much time that passed. It wasn't like days. It was, again, it doesn't say exactly how many minutes. It just says minutes. I'm going to say 20. I couldn't find how long. But so it's like, where could she have gone in that amount of time? It doesn't make sense. And it was allegedly 150 people at the time during that day were looking for her when she first went missing. So, which is even adds a bit more to the mystery as to where'd she go, how'd she get away so fast, and why haven't we found her?
Or any evidence of her, even.
Exactly. It's super strange. Some people theorize maybe she got freaked out by hearing people scream, and at one point they brought search dogs, so maybe she thought the dog was a bear and she went running. But so,
I don't know.
Yeah,
how old
I know.
was she again?
She was 14.
I think
like
a 14-year-old
freshman in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of an idiot, so.
You're like, oh my god, it's a bear. And Dexter's just like, the fuck?
It's my brethren out here.
Yeah. But search and rescue volunteers and outdoor enthusiasts who have researched Stacy's case seem to agree that some reports were possibly inaccurate in the first place. So reports about how she went missing, the amount of time she went missing in, and things like that. So this is from a Reddit user, and they say, the official description of where she went missing makes no sense. Reportedly, the group arrived at the Sunrise Camp where they planned to stay in some of the cabins. We are told that Stacy left to photograph the lake, which was inside of the cabins. There's no lake inside of the there's no lake in sight of the camp. It would have had to have been a very long hike to reach the lake, so that discrepancy is odd. And that was one thing they kept mentioning, like we saw her at the lake. Another thing that's weird is the facts changes, or the fact change. This fact changes things a lot. This is still the Reddit user. If she really set out to photograph the lake, then there was a lot of distance and space that could have accounted for her disappearance. There are many crevices and spots where she could have possibly fallen, and crevices can conceal anything. However, not knowing where she went makes it difficult to guess. So internet sleuths, are just kind of a bit skeptical about the nature at which she went missing and the lake being so far away, but everyone was like, oh, we were just all hanging out at camp and we saw her at the lake. So that's kind of strange as well.
Yeah.
Another weird thing is the National Park Service don't keep track of their disappearances. I think just because there's so many, maybe.
That's kind of overwhelmingly
so
scary
the exact
to think of.
I know the exact number of people who have disappeared without a trace in national parks is unknown. They don't keep a record of that. Which is what are the national parks up to? Okay, what are they up to?
I think that's so weird because it makes you wonder, like, is this whatever's going on some kind of government type thing? That's like, dude,
yeah,
you know, like.
Well, I was thinking. Sorry, finish your thought.
No, I'm just wondering because if it's like, if they're able to get away with not reporting it, and you would think that the FBI, CIA, like everyone would want those kind of records. But they're just kind of letting them slide. It's like, why?
Right? They're like,
what's going on?
Maybe it's not a public record.
Maybe it's super strange.
I was also thinking, like, specific to this case is maybe it was a cult thing, and like she was the chosen one to be like sacrificed. So everyone's like, yeah, she went to the lake.
That would
like,
be weird
no
too,
big deal.
right? Her group of campers she was with, they're like, hey. So my guy David Paulides, Bigfoot enthusiast, investigator, author, and documentarian, has posted, or he's theorized that Bigfoot might have something to do with it, and he does a lot of research on national park disappearances and Bigfoot. So he claims that he's spent 7,000 hours investigating the park system disappearances. So from his research, he estimates that there are around 1,600 missing persons across 85 million acres of parkland in the United States. David often chooses cases that might fit certain paranormal theories, most of which include Bigfoot. So he arranges the disappearances he researches into what he calls clusters. And these are cases with similar circumstances. And one of the criteria of these clusters is storms. And in Stacy's case, the search and rescue dogs struggled to pick up her scent because the conditions were oddly dry and windy. So maybe there was, I don't know. I think Bigfoot can like travel through dimensions, and whenever he's about to land somewhere, I don't know, a storm happens as a distraction or something. That's my theory.
It's fine. He knows how to work portals and just portals around throughout.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
And Canada. Like, oh, I feel like being in these woods today, not those.
Yes. But again, another theory is that Stacy just ran away and she didn't want to, live a life that she was living anymore and wanted to live in the forest. But that has been sort of debunked because she was really close with her family. She had a boyfriend back home, and the shoes that she was wearing, she took off her hiking boots before walking down to the lake and changed into flip-flops. So it's like if she was planning on running into the forest, wouldn't you have kept on your hiking boots? I don't know. That is
maybe she went into the lake.
Maybe, yeah.
Because if
the lady of the lake got her.
Searched the lake. Loch Ness Monster.
There we go.
I don't know, but again, another theory, Yosemite is known for its large population of black bears. There are about 300 to 500 bears in the park alone. And, so it's not not common to see a bear or to run into bears while in Yosemite. So one theory is maybe that Stacy ran into a bear on the trail and got attacked by a bear. But again, no one in Yosemite has ever perished from an encounter with a black bear.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, the National Park Service probably wouldn't tell us about it. But
the bears are like hoarding missing people, taking them prisoner. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. They have a whole different system.
Another common theme in David's clusters is drowning. So over the last decade, this has remained the top incident to result in the loss of life in national parks. And so that's another thing. Like you guys mentioned, maybe she did fall into the lake and drowned, but divers did spend a significant amount of time in the lake and they came back with nothing. So maybe she did drown. They still don't know. And they haven't completely ruled out foul play either. People think, it could be possible. Maybe she wandered off. She got kidnapped. Foul play is, usually always a possibility. But again, what's super strange about this case is there's just not a lot of evidence and it all happened so quickly. It's super weird. So who fucking knows what happened to Stacy, but I hope she's okay. Maybe she's just chilling with Bigfoot and they're like BFFs now. I don't know.
She's Lady Bigfoot.
She's just like taking his pictures and he's like,
yeah,
catch those angles. He's like, too bad no one's ever going to see these.
I know.
When I die, you are allowed to release these so that everyone knows that I did exist.
Post them on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. Catch 22, though, I will never die.
But that's what I got for you. So, a little spooky.
Wow.
Crazy.
Disappearance.
When did this happen again?
1981.
Okay. Oh, so it's been a fucking
the 80s.
time, then.
The 80s were a wild
Stacey
time.
Stacey would now be like, 1980, so 2040. She would be like 54?
She was 14.
I'm not doing math right now.
Yeah, something like that, probably.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Sure.
A second to
We
think.
can, math is hard.
Alrighty. So, since the last handful of stories from me have been a little bit on the gruesome side or the gross and horrible side, so I decided to just take a bunch of random true crime stories of the holidays and throw them in this little segment here. So,
Festive.
buckle up. We're gonna have a good time.
Wait, I'm gonna replenish my beer. It's probably gonna make noises, so
That's all good. Gotta love that.
Replenish.
I'm at the bottom of my second White Claw after taking a 4-hour nap.
Nice. I'm drinking water because I was hungover today. I had a lot of margaritas last night. As you probably saw in my Snapchat story.
Did you plan to post that, or was that one of those random Lexy posted on Snapchat videos?
I knew it was being posted. It wasn't an accident this time because I've had those, which are very embarrassing.
They're pretty bad.
But my brother and his friend Wyatt thought it would be funny. They were drunk too. I got them drunk. It was great. Anyways.
I need to hang out with drunk B-Dog one day.
Oh, yeah.
B-Dog, if you're
It's a good
listening,
time.
have a drink with me. Alrighty. So this first story I got from Vice.com, and it's titled Bath Salt Home Invasion. Ooh. So in 2011, a gentleman named Terry Trent from Dayton, Ohio, decided to get fucked up on bath salts, as we all like to during the holidays, right?
Yep.
He decided to walk in the back door of his neighbor's house, and he decided to decorate the place for Christmas. He lit candles, set up the tree, put up wreaths, blasted music, the whole shebang. I honestly didn't see or write down when this happened, but it did not happen during Christmas time.
Nice.
And how he got caught was because he was playing with toys next to the Christmas tree that he just so beautifully put up. And, the parents were next door at, their neighbor's house for a little bit. And, one of the kids upstairs, he was, 10 or 12, woke up from the music and was just like, what the fuck? And saw, the stranger playing with his toys in the living room and was like, what the fuck? Why is it Christmas? And walked next door and be like, Mom, Dad, there's Christmas is happening. No. There's a guy. And so, nothing bad happened. It was just a little home invasion of Christmas cheer.
Oh, my God.
That's kind of great, to be honest. I hope that he was, their friend to the point where they're like, dude, What the fuck?
Dude,
stay away from our kids. Stay away from their toys.
What's going on here?
We'll invite you over for Christmas. And you do all that, you know?
Yeah. As long as you put it away, you can put up the decorations whenever you want to. So this next story is from sfgate.com/crime. And Angela, you went to a SantaCon one year. Do you remember what year that was?
That was 2018, I want to say.
Okay. Well, 4 years before you went, in 2014, a man decided to dress up like Santa, like everyone does for SantaCon in San Francisco. And he decided to walk into a bank on the 400 block of Sutter Street shortly after 1 p.m. Excuse me, seltzers. Make me burpy, it happens. So he handed a note to the teller and claimed to have a gun and split with an undisclosed amount of money. He literally just walked in a Santa uniform. Here's a little picture of him, by the way. I have a photo.
Oh my God.
Oh shit. I got the rainbow wheel of death. Okay, we're good.
Oh God, no.
He just walked in up to the teller and was just all like, give me your money. And then just walked out and blended in with all the fucking Santas, and they never caught him.
Wow, what a G.
What the heck?
Right?
Why didn't I think of that? No, just dang.
Next time, Angela, next time.
Imagine, describe him. He was dressed like Santa.
Like, fuck, everyone's dressed like Santa
So
today.
was everyone else. And he looks like, there's no, he even has a beard, but it's kind of covering his face, but not super. You can still see his nose and his mouth, because it's kind of like those people who wear the mask but not wear the mask. It's right there, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you can kind of see his face, but apparently not enough. So, way to go, Santa, for stealing money for your elves, maybe? I don't know. And then this is just a fun thing, because
very quick, imagine if he did that and his friends were out there waiting for him and they came back and they're like, let's drink, you know.
I did it. Told you I could do it. I bet you and I got it.
Oh gosh.
Oh God, SantaCon.
So
So this next one is just kind of from a pilation of some stories that I came across, but did you know that stealing the baby Jesus and the nativity scenes in front of churches is happens a lot in Florida, Texas, and New York, so much that they put GPSs in them?
No, that's fucking hilarious.
It's damn it, someone stole baby Jesus again. Let's go find him. They go pick it up, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
And it's a crime. It's a misdemeanor if you get caught stealing one of the nativity scenes from a church, and even from some residences as well.
That's
so
funny.
be careful if you decide to be drunk one day and steal baby Jesus, like this one idiot did. They might have a GPS in there, and it might be worth $1,500, and you might go to jail for a really long time because of it. So don't do that.
Oh, so the GPS is hidden in it, people wouldn't know upon taking it. But
It's
that's great.
How embarrassing. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So wait, what states? Florida, Texas,
and New York.
New York. Okay, I'm noted.
So
California's
California's
good. I'm just kidding.
According to that article, at least.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Oh, that's funny.
This next story is from the Daily News, and it's Christmas 2013, and police respond to a domestic violence call. They arrive, the husband is covered in blood, and 44-year-old South Carolina woman was arrested for stabbing her husband with a ceramic squirrel. Do you want to know why? Because he didn't bring home beer from the store.
Wow.
You didn't what?
Well, he deserved it then.
Bet you he never forgot the beer again.
Exactly.
He's like, crazy bitch gonna stab me with a skunk next. Just kidding.
So this next one is also from the Daily News, and a man claiming to be Santa Claus was arrested in January when police discovered him giving away stocking stuffers at a local Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant, according to the Monterey Herald. Police booked the apparently well-intentioned but clueless Randy Lang, who's 57, on charges of furnishing marijuana because all the stockings were full of marijuana.
Nice.
He just walked into the Buffalo Wild Wings in Santa garb and was like, you get weed, you get weed, and you get weed.
He had good intentions.
He brought a duffel bag packed with 2 pounds of weed. That's a lot of weed to just like start handing out.
That's funny.
So he even stuffed a large amount of the substance into the bar's tip jar before cops caught up with him. And like the fun part of this article ended with police are still seeking the elves responsible for cultivating the drug.
That's funny.
The elves.
So this one is titled "That Time Saint Nick Was a Little Too Jolly."
Uh-oh.
And it goes, sometimes it's possible to imbibe a little too much of a seasonal spirit. In 2009, a drunk Santa Claus stumbled into a scared family's yard in Wisconsin. The family's 2 kids weren't fooled by the blottered man in red. He smells like alcohol, so I knew it wasn't the real Santa because Santa doesn't drink alcohol. Said 9-year-old Katie.
Well, Katie obviously doesn't know what eggnog is. I'm just kidding.
It's like,
what's in it?
You know what you give Santa? You give him cookies. He could be sugar wasted.
Oh my gosh.
The fun thing about the story is the drunk imposter tottered around yelling, "Have you seen my reindeer? If you see my reindeer, call me right away."
Have you seen my reindeer?
That is commitment, if I see no other.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
And this is my last one. It's kind of odd, and it's called "The Santa Claus Burglar Fails Spectacularly." A man named Sean Chanel earned the dubious nickname the Santa Claus Burglar after he tried breaking into a house through the chimney. He got stuck, and ultimately Seattle firefighters had to come rescue him. After chopping away at the chimney bricks for 45 minutes, medics freed the mysteriously naked 23-year-old, who then strangely claimed he was just trying to retrieve his backpack. The judge didn't buy it, and Chanel was sentenced to 17 months behind bars.
My backpack fell in the chimney. I'd be so pissed if I were those homeowners or people that lived there, and some naked dude tries to sneak into my chimney, and then it has to be like fucking demolished
to save his life. And you're like,
yeah, like, God, this guy.
Does Allstate cover this?
Yeah. How do I explain this away? Oh my God.
Farmers insurance, you say you expect everything. But that's all of my fun true crime little stories of the holidays. I hope that puts you in the jolly spirit.
Sure does. I'm going to grab my oracle cards and give you guys a reading now.
Fuck yeah.
Christmas.
I'm glad I'm not the sad and depressing one this week. It's Lexy.
We ended on that. It was good.
Yeah, that was nice. That's all funny. And no one died in any of those crimes.
Yay!
All right, so for those of you guys who do not listen to us as often as you should, every full episode I pull an oracle card, and you can take this however you want, whatever resonates, and I don't know, just think of a question maybe right now as I'm shuffling the cards, and hopefully they give you some kind of insight or some kind of answer. So today's oracle card says, you and your loved ones are safe.
Aww.
Oh,
That's nice.
so that one's
That is
nice.
very good, especially during these
right
weird
now.
times.
Yeah, especially right now. It says new moon in Cancer, so let's see, 48. It says there's a new start coming in your private life. Something is rising up in connection with the people and places you hold dearest. This can be to do with a member of your family, a flatmate, or moving house. If you're hoping to move forward with something special in your private life, this card comes to you as a message that you can do it. If you've been neglecting your family, it's time to reconnect with them. If you've been neglecting yourself, you need to take better care of yourself and nurture yourself more. If your insecurity is holding you back, that's something for you to work on now. Doing so could bring you your heart's desire. Attuned to the Moon says make sure you put family first. Additional meanings for this card: let someone get a bit closer to you. A new cycle is starting for your child or children. It's time to review your goals. Have they changed? Meditation will help you banish your insecurities, and spending time near water will bring you peace and answers.
Oh.
Look at Lexi
Good
spending
one.
time with her family
Yay.
near water.
I know.
Yes.
Boom.
You're the epitome of that card. Excellent. Well, friends, on that note, I hope you have a good holiday, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.